It's Matrix Money Tuesday. Welcome, welcome. FF, CCM, how you guys doing?
How's it
Good.
going, everybody?
Doing well.
A
Exactly.
lot has happened between our countries. I still feel positive towards you guys. But we have a very
That's good.
interesting show today. We're going to be talking about sound money, right?
Yes, indeed.
And we have Mr. Daniel Diaz here.
Welcome,
Hey
Hello,
guys, how
Daniel.
you
sir. How are
doing?
you?
Welcome.
Good, good, man. It's been a busy few months since we last chatted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Very big, busy month for crypto, for money in general.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard you mentioning you're from Canada, right?
I'm from the possibly 51st state. Yeah.
Well, either you or Greenland, one of you two are going to be the 51st state.
We're having a little bit of an issue with steel and aluminum right now. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, I heard
Oh,
25% tariff.
Yeah, it's not pretty. I'm hoping they
No.
work something out right now.
oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah,
Do you want to take a quick look and see who's here? Say hey, and then we can jump
Yeah,
into
let's
it.
do it.
All
yeah.
right. Let's see who we got here. Automatic.
Old brother.
Good to see you. And Mike.
Mike. How you
Awesome.
doing, Mike?
All the way from Portugal.
Yes,
Yes. Appreciate
sir.
you being here.
Nice.
Damn it, Dave in the house.
Damn
And
it,
what's on? The maple syrup is tasting watered down recently. Oh, I love
we got to cut
automatic
down the
beats, man.
supply. Liquidate it.
That's liquidate it. There it is. There it is. Oh man. Well, all right. That's it. People are still actually coming in. I'm seeing the number slowly starting to go up there. So I don't know. Maybe we just started off and we can check back later. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
That works.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, the man of the hour is probably going to give us an update on what's going on because from everything I hear, you're pretty busy these days.
Yeah, man, full blown lobbying now. I think I mentioned to you guys. I think was it October the last time we did this show, or was it
Yeah.
November? I forget.
I think it
Sometime
was
in
Um,
there.
November. Yeah.
this time period, man, like I'm away from home. My organization, because Florida is our top priority. We have a condo we're renting during session, so this week I permanently moved to Tallahassee until May. Um, and I mean, not only am I here lobbying, like I'm going to be testifying in Montana on Thursday at 10 a.m. for a gold and silver bill. I was just on the phone with an activist in Wyoming who's going to be testifying at the Wyoming committee, and I was giving him pointers on how to testify what he should do. I've been talking to people in Illinois who want to try to add an amendment to legislation. I met with legislators in New Hampshire on Saturday about bringing back the Sound Money Act. I'm working with legislators in Utah. I mean, basically anybody who wants to see gold or silver uh, get passed through their legislation, through their legislature. People are calling, they're emailing. We're starting to ramp up our social media because we've got our TV show that excitingly the Discovery Network isn't just going to be putting it on the Science Channel. They're putting it on a second network for free because it will be the first crypto slash gold and silver show that's ever been broadcast on national television.
Oh, wow, that's
So
exciting.
it's
Nice.
going to
Yeah,
be,
that's awesome.
yeah, it's some travel channel that Discovery Network controls or has. So lots of things have been going on in Florida. It's phenomenal. Like last year, we had such a hard grassroots effort. We met with over 100, well, not over, about 100 legislators and executive officers in the government, educating them on sound money. It didn't get anywhere last year, but we were able to get a $200,000 appropriations, and it's going to be coming. That study bill is going to be coming out sometime this month. Basically, what the effects would be if Florida made gold and silver legal tender, and the state started accepting gold and silver as legal tender. And then, not just gold and silver, we got states all around the country that are trying to do Bitcoin reserves, which is
Yes.
interesting because more states have filed Bitcoin reserve bills than they filed gold and silver, and
Yeah,
it's quite
yeah.
interesting what Trump is doing across the country when it comes to cryptocurrency and sound money. Because his Treasury Department, the Secretary of the Treasury now, he biggest holding is in his hedge fund is gold. So he has a gold bug as the head of the secretary treasury, and then I forget what the crypto czar is, but he's a huge crypto advocate. So
Yes.
lots of things have been going on. The stock market is starting to get little dings here and there. Same thing with the crypto markets, which I kind of predicted, but Trump kind of postponed the crash. Let me tell you, if Kamala won, we'd already be in a deep depression. I mean,
Oh, is that right?
oh yeah, dude. I mean, uh, what economists are saying is that with Trump coming in, there's it front loaded the stock market. And there, I don't have the charts, man. I didn't prepare like I have in the past because I've been busy. I
Mhm.
was at the Capitol and everything. But there are charts that show that the amount of income uh, being generated and invested has actually been going down, but people have been front loading tech stocks and other things, and it's not matching up. It's since Trump got elected, a huge bubble's been diverging between the amount of money that people have to invest and the amount going into the stock market. It's like people taking their money out of savings into the stock market, and it's just not sustainable.
Is that like
So
leveraged as well? Is that
everything.
everything?
I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. I think I have to look for the chart, but if I had a little more time, I would have prepared a little better for the call. But I'm
No
sorry,
worries.
I'm trying to change the world.
No, you're
No
good.
worries.
You're good.
It's okay. It's okay.
So, what was I gonna say? Well, what else? What other updates? I updated you about the TV show, legislation. Yeah. What do you guys want to discuss? What direction you want to head?
Go
Jar,
ahead,
you want to
CC.
I don't
start?
know
I
if you
think we
guys had
got some
any
questions here.
specific questions or whatever, but
Okay. Yeah, man, I'm just excited about what's going on with the Sound Money movement. We have a 501c3 that we're starting up. We met with our advisory. We have an advisory board. We have Lynette Zhang, David Morgan, John Williams from Shadow Stats, Nathan Lewis from he's a Sound Money economist. Who else? We have Jacqueline Dawson, who is the COO and president of Zhang Enterprises. So we are creating curriculum right now. Our first two priorities is to create curriculum to educate legislators on the history of money in America and why it's important for the states to start accepting gold and silver as legal tender. And then we're also going to create curriculum for the common person to learn about financial literacy, how to save, how to learn about sound money principles, and explain why 4 out of 5 Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and don't have $1,000 to their name. Right. So education is the most important part in freeing yourself economically, becoming independent when it comes to finances. And that's the number one problem. Most people don't have that education, and that's the whole purpose of our Sound Money movement, the 501c3. So lots of things are happening, and once this TV show comes out, like we're looking to ramp up, grow the organization, hiring more staff and everything to prepare for this TV show, because once it goes, I mean, it's just gonna
It's gonna
bring
pick
our
up.
organization, what we're
Yeah.
doing, to the front.
yeah,
to
you're
the
gonna be
limelight.
on fire. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're excited. I'm excited. I'm busier than I've ever been, and it's different than last year when I was lobbying. This
Why
year
is
when
that?
last year we had our founder Jim Forsyth. He was chairman. I would lobby. I was the chief lobbyist, and still am. But we had the the chairman. He'd do all the business with the board, and I'd just be doing my thing. But since he passed away, like I'm the executive director and I don't have that chairman, and our current chairman has a full time business, and the other executive
Yeah,
team members
splitting
have
time.
full time businesses.
Mhm.
So it comes on to me. And I'm finding myself, when before I could turn off my phone and just focus on lobbying, now I can't. So I have to come back to the department. I got to do work. I can do administrative work. So there's a lot more to deal with. And we got this TV show and everything going on. So I'm really excited that we're going to start growing and hiring more people to do what we're doing. Hopefully hire some more lobbyists, so it's not just me and just contracting out other lobbyists. So lots going on in the Sound Money movement. Lots going on in around the world because of Trump.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it,
Well, yeah. I'm definitely seeing
Hmm.
that impact. When you're talking about the new show, like, is there a timeline of when it's going to be released? And is it all
yeah.
three, like gold, silver, crypto, or is it exclusively gold, or
Good
what are we
question.
focusing on?
No, so it's it was going to be called Sound Money Movement, but we had some trademark issues, so I think we're renaming it Money Myths,
Okay.
and it's going to be 12 episode series. And if I remember correctly, with the creative team, the first third of the show is going to be the history of money. The middle of the show is going to be the current state of money, and the last part of the show is going to be the future of money, blockchain technology. I think the name of the show is going to be called Money Myths. It was supposed to air in May, but because of this new network that they're going to be adding us on, it's being pushed back to June. So it should be airing in June, and production, like the actual filming of it, should be wrapped up by the end of March. So we basically got 2 months to finish post production and get everything to the network. Like, it isn't like we can give one episode at a time. We have to do all the episodes and send it to them. So once we finish production in March, it should be getting sent to the network, and we'll be on TV, cable network, television in June.
Nice.
Wow, very exciting.
Yeah, once you get there, man, it's just gonna be wow.
Yeah, I'm starting to get nervous, man. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like, I like my privacy because I'm in gold and crypto and everything. I kind of like flying under the radar. Other than doing these things, I still get recognized from time to time, but that's a different level. Being on YouTube shows, but then being on national television, I'm like, should I move? Should I change my address? These are the things I'm already thinking about because it's going to be quite interesting. But who knows, man? Like, life happens once. Roll with the punches, see what happens. But and this year it's been a lot of fun lobbying, in the sense that last year was knocking on doors and educating. This year, because we've already laid the groundwork, and the legislators know who I am. They know I'm the gold silver guy. I don't really need to educate them. So now it's like getting down to the nitty gritty and actually working on legislation. Like, on Saturday, I spent 3 hours. We met with a policy analyst in the Senate, who the first committee that the bill is going to be going to, and we met with her for 2 hours on Thursday. And then on Saturday, I hunkered down, turned everything off, and I worked 3 hours straight editing the legislation. And then I sent it to her yesterday after having some feedback from a few people, tweaking it. And then we're meeting with her again on Thursday. We're meeting with the chairman of the committee tomorrow, and we're going to present the original bill and the current draft, and we're going to let them know, like, hey, this is the current changes. We're going to meet with your policy analyst tomorrow to refine it, but let's try to get it on the agenda, is what we're hoping for. And if that happens, Florida is like most other legislators. When something gets through the Senate, usually that picks up momentum in the House. So we have a lot of momentum in the Senate right now because the bill's already filed. The House is a little slower, and I don't know if you've been paying attention to national news, but Florida, until recently, was the governor and the legislature were going at war over immigration. They quashed that. They have a new bill coming out. The governor and the legislature are now best friends again, and they're moving forward. And like they canceled all of our appointments this week. 2 weeks ago, they canceled all of our appointments. We had to reschedule. Like, I was supposed to be at the Capitol all day, but I came back early, because I had another phone call at 4:00 and a bunch of other things, So it's amazing in politics, man. Things happen so fast. Like, literally minute by minute, something can change, and you got to adjust. You got to be very fluid when it comes to schedules and what's happening in government. Like, and then it isn't just Florida I got to worry about. I got a hearing on Montana, got a hearing in Wyoming at some point.
You're everywhere.
There's right now on our website, I just updated all the lists of sound money legislation. There's currently 16 states in the country that have some form of gold and silver legislation, whether it's getting rid of taxes, creating a state depository, which I think 3 or 4 states want to create a state depository. Like, we just updated. It's called the 2025 Sound Money Legislation Tracker. In fact, how do I share my screen to show everybody?
Present button at the bottom. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, present, share screen, and which one? Window. There it is. Share.
We got you. Hang on.
All right. Here it is. This is our updated sound money legislation. So the gray lettering, we have all 50 states on here. No active legislation. Green is yes, there's 16. No, none of the states have failed. And then we are keeping track of the states that have already made gold and silver legal tender with the gold and silver star. So you see, we've got Alaska, Arizona. Arizona has a legal tender. Arkansas has a legal tender. Florida has 2 bills. Indiana, it's already gone through committee. Iowa, the bill was introduced. Kansas, these 2 bills were introduced. Louisiana made it legal tender. There's no legislation. Missouri actually has 4. I need to update this. It's a 4th bill. So they have 4 gold and silver legislations. Montana, the one I'm supposed to be speaking at on Thursday. New Hampshire is looking to introduce. They have introduced 1 bill and they're looking to edit it. North Dakota, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. So if you're in any of those states, you got legislation in your state. If your state is not on this list, then you can still try to get legislation on. You just got to find a legislator who's willing to do an amendment during the process and just add the entire Sound Money Act onto a current bill. So lots going on, man. This is the busiest time of the year for me. It's only my 2nd year doing it like this full time, but I love it. It's crazy. I get tired mentally, physically.
I bet.
But I'm a true believer that once we introduce sound money into the economy, and people start utilizing it and saving in gold and silver versus keeping it in dirty fiat, it's going to change their lives. Just like you guys learned with cryptocurrency and putting in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the number 1 growing asset in the world. I mean, if you would have put it in 10 years ago, you're way better off now than if you put it in any other asset. But the problem with Bitcoin, it's not stable. You got 80% drops every 4 years. So we're coming to the near end of that bull market. And even with the reserve bills coming through, I mean, we don't know when those are going to pass, when the state's going to pull the trigger, and that's different. That's outside of the scope of the 4-year cycle. It's going to break the 4-year cycle. We can't use that anymore if countries and states start buying up Bitcoin. But when are they going to start doing that? I mean, Trump's fixing a bunch of stuff. It could be in a few months. It could be later on in the year. Trump wants to do it within his first 100 years. So we got maybe another 3.5 months before we see something coming through. And at that point, I'd load up on Bitcoin.
Well, you just said that we're almost at the end of the bull cycle. I don't even feel like we've gotten into a bull cycle yet. What makes you feel like we're at the end of it already?
Well, the halving happened on April 15th, right? Give or take. So typically, if you look at the last 4 bull markets, it's not exact. Typically, it's 1 year before the halving and 1 year after the halving is when the bull market lasts. Then it crashes for 2 years, and then it goes another 2 years. So we're coming up to that April time frame, but there's a margin of error of 100 days before and 100 days after. It's not exactly 1 year halving. So taking that into effect, we're within that 100-day period from the halving. And the fact that we haven't increased as we have in previous bull cycles, it's slowing down. Everything that I'm reading, forget the news. Forget what's happening with the bills. If we're just looking at the normal cycle of Bitcoin, it's lost steam.
I'm not even sure if we're even following the same cycle anymore. We've branched off in so many different ways with a whole bunch of new factors in there. I think this cycle, if we're going to call it a cycle, is going to be completely different than the past ones because of the effect of the market right now.
Well, right, and the Trump effect.
The Trump effect, actually many different effects. ETFs, everything else that's going on with it.
Yeah, the
possible
ETFs too,
reserve, right?
But the ETFs, there's no different than the ETF and buying Bitcoin directly. All you're doing is you're moving Bitcoin over to the stock market, and it's still based. All the stock market is trying to. It's the hopes and fears of the people. Hopes and fears of the people's emotions, right?
Well, so if you're bringing it over to the stock market and these ETFs, it brings accessibility to it, also legitimizes it to a lot of people who are against it right now. I think the exposure with the ETFs, with all the ETFs, because I'm not just Bitcoin, but Ethereum and Solana and everything else that might be hitting the market, will help boost overall the cryptocurrency market.
Yeah,
in my perspective. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I think that it also opens up to a lot more shorting, a lot more institutions being able to
Okay,
manipulate the markets,
yeah,
right?
I
So, I mean, they have been
agree.
shorting and manipulating gold and silver for decades since we got off the gold and silver standard in 1971 and 1964 too for silver. They stopped minting silver coins, well, 90% silver coins. But they've been suppressing it, the markets. Do you think it's going to be any different? It's a lot easier for them now. I mean, before you had to
yeah,
go through an exchange with futures contracts, and now it's in the market. So big players who have the money to hire and buy algorithms to completely manipulate the markets is there. So I mean, if let's say you have $1 million in Bitcoin and you have a purchase order at, I don't know, 94,000. Somebody who has $1 billion in the markets can short that, pick up your money cheap, and then buy it back up and get a profit.
yeah, yeah. That's
So
true.
it's a lot. There's a lot more manipulation risk now that you have the ETFs. Yes, it infuses capital, but now we're dealing with the real markets, and they're behemoths. J.P. Morgan, Chase, you got Bank of America, you have what are these other banks? Citigroup. You have all these
Yeah.
groups that are now have ETFs that they can put capital into.
So
So yeah, it can pump it, but I think the pump is going to come from the bills, not the
yeah, okay,
ETFs.
right. The bills will have an
The pump
impact.
and the
FF, I cut you off
eventual
though, wasn't it?
stability. But
Mhm.
FF had a question, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question. So, what do you think about? I know you said to ignore bills, but what do you think about the bills and everything that's been sort of proposed on the U.S. side and the uncertainty that it brings to the market? Because I don't know how true this is, but I heard that the market as a whole doesn't like uncertainty. And maybe that's another factor to add on to the factors that we talked about earlier as a reasoning to why Bitcoin and crypto in general hasn't really seen that bull run and why stocks are, I haven't been really following stocks too much, but I've seen the fluctuation between a lot of tech stocks currently. And I think it's all due to the uncertainty of just what's going on right now. What are your thoughts on that?
So let me ask you a question. Uh, do you like uncertainty?
No.
And that's all the stock market is. It's just your hopes and fears. The stock market is not some magic machine I mean, yeah, there's algorithms, but ultimately there's people behind those algorithms that have set parameters of what they're willing to lose and what they're wanting to gain. So when you have 200 plus $1 trillion of boomer money that's going to be transferred over and they're in retirement, and they're hearing, because they're not sophisticated investors, oh, I should buy Bitcoin. They buy this Bitcoin ETF or Ethereum ETF or whatever, and then Trump is like, we're gonna tariff everybody. That's just fear. That has nothing to do with Bitcoin. That's fear. That's why when the tariffs were supposed to get enacted on Monday at midnight, for Canada and Mexico, everything crashed. Crypto crashed first because it's 24/7. Monday the stock markets crashed, but then he's like, no, forget it. 30 days, no tariff, and everything
Yeah,
went back up. All the stock market is, all cryptocurrencies, all of the forex exchange, for the most part, are the hopes and fears of people. So if you feel uncomfortable with something in the markets, no, that's how not everybody. A lot of people in the markets are feeling too.
Yeah, and I agree with that and that whole sentiment. And the reason why, again, I brought that up, I don't know what that noise was, is going back to Jar's question before on why we haven't seen that bull run case for Bitcoin in general, is
Yeah.
primarily due to that uncertainty that you just explained wonderfully, by the way. But that's all I kind of wanted to bring up. Um,
Yeah, look, I said this before in one of the shows. Bitcoin is not money. Bitcoin is an investment. It's a wealth generating asset, and that's how most of the world sees it. The true believers, and I used to be a true believer. I used to be a Bitcoin maxi. I've changed my views. I think it's the best investment to invest in. You can dollar cost average, but I'm in all gold and silver now, and gold's been pumping. It's been winning. Um,
it is. It
All
is.
time highs every day
Yeah.
almost. Silver, I think, is going to catch up. I think the plays to really get silver because, man, once it hits 50, it's not going to stop there. I think it's going to go to 100 within the next couple years, maybe within the year. I mean, have you guys been paying attention to the gold and silver? You guys know
I'm
what's
gonna
going on
bring
there?
it up. Yeah, no, I'm gonna.
Why gold
Kind
dropping?
of. I mean, last time you told us to get it, I got gold and I was going to sell, but I never sold, so I'm glad I didn't. But that's all I know. So
Yeah.
Well, I know it's
So,
pushing 3K at this point.
yeah,
yeah,
it's doing
and
well.
the reason why is futures contracts are being called on for redemption of gold and silver, and the largest future contract issuer is the London Bullion Exchange. The London Bullion Exchange has a 3-month waiting period because they're out of gold. The LMBA, the exact same thing, they're out of gold. Somebody, and now we think we've narrowed it down to the United States, has called all of their contracts. There isn't enough gold, and the LMBA and COMEX are calling around the world to all the mints asking for their gold. There is a huge demand, and there isn't enough supply. And right now, do me a favor, pull up on X a handle called North Star at North Star.
North Star. Okay.
He has I believe, I mean, he's one of my favorite technical analysts when it comes to anything gold, silver stocks. They primarily focus on the gold ratio between, like, let's say, an ounce of gold towards the Dow Jones and S&P 500. They have a theory. Yeah, see right there, that little chart right there with all the red? Click on that. Yep. Expand that. That is the capital rotation event. The capital rotation event is when the price of gold outpaces the price of those assets. So when all those boxes are checked in that top quadrant, those is it 12 boxes?
Right over here.
That means we're in a full-on capital rotation event. People are pulling money out of all the markets and they're going to the gold, and that starts about a 10-year gold and silver bull run. As of today, I believe they said the Dow Jones broke it. They're waiting for confirmation. If confirmation happens and gold is outpacing the Dow Jones, we only need the S&P 500 to fail, which is it's almost there. It's right at the line on their charts. Mm-hmm. And then once those two are checked off, the other four automatically get checked off. We're in a full capital rotation event, and we're going to have a major gold and silver bull market and probably a major correction in all the markets.
Jesus. Okay. Wow.
That's interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, I've never seen this chart before.
Yeah, do we have this that we can link to, like, the people watching?
I'll put it in the
chat. Yeah. Just put the link to their blog and tell them that Mining Life CEO sent them to North Star, so they know it was me and why they got so much traffic.
There's a.
But yeah, man. I mean, I've been harping on this. It's been a little delayed because of Trump. And let me put it into perspective. In August, September, and October, I could not keep inventory for gold and silver. I was selling all my gold and silver like that. I got an investor to help me with a supply, and then the minute Trump got elected, it isn't just me. People just stopped buying. People got excited. They put it in the stock market. But now with the tariffs, now that he is the president, and now he's doing these things. Look, I told you guys, I think on the last call, maybe not. A week before Trump got elected, Elon Musk said, be prepared for a correction because the minute they start firing government employees and instituting tariffs, it's going to shock the market. He told us a week before the election this was going to happen. It is happening. I would believe when Donald Trump and Elon Musk say, hey, even Trump recently had an article. He's like, yeah, it's probably going to hurt for a little bit. There's probably going to be correction. But you know how he is, or maybe not. But come on, guys. You know, it's happening. And I was in Bitcoin. I was trading crypto. I made some money, you know, in November, December. But once January 20th happened, back in gold and silver. And like I told you, cryptocurrency stocks are a wealth-generating asset. I increased my wealth. I put it back into my safe haven, gold and silver. And gold and silver is not like cash. It's not sitting there doing nothing. You said it, FF. You're happy you held your gold. My gold's been going up about 1% a day.
Wow.
Hell, day traders will kill for 1% a day. You know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And when you were talking about hard assets, and one way to get your hands on it was Alpine. I'm pretty sure you said it was Alpine Gold and buying
Alpine Gold, yes, with gold backs. And if you want to trade, now here's an update. I've been doing my trading on Kinesis. Kinesis launched their Kinesis Pro platform. They have, I think, over 35 different pairs with gold and silver, and they just launched USD1 with it is now the third largest stable coin in the world. They have $13 billion backing it. And yeah, so if you open it, I think we mentioned that. I'll
Kinesis
send you
one?
guys a link. Kinesis.money is the website. I think I sent you guys I sent you that link before.
I'm pretty sure I have that in the description. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. C4SM for all you crypto fans. If you want to do what I do, which is trading gold to cryptocurrencies, you can do that with 35 different pairs. You can trade gold, and I've already gotten used to seeing all assets in price in gold, a gram of gold. So I mean, I basically just trade. They're still tweaking. It's not like Binance yet. They launched it in December as a beta, and they made it public in January, and they're constantly updating the crypto exchange. But that's where I primarily do my trading. And I'd rather do that than have it in USD. I mean, USD1's fine, but I'm not a fan of fiat. I told you guys that.
Yeah.
So I hold all my money mostly, except for what I need to pay to survive, in gold and silver.
Yeah.
Having some problems pulling that one up. So when you're buying the gold backs, I tried picking some up for the Christmas holidays. It was very expensive to bring it over the border. Was there Canadian options or international options when you want to buy gold backs?
That's the only problem with Goldback. By the way, we at C4SM, we're selling Goldbacks too. We're receiving donations from Goldback every month and Goldback. So every month we're going to have a renewal of Goldback. So if you guys are interested in supporting what we're doing, I'll get them up in the shop shortly. I've been doing a lot of stuff lately, and I have an update. I got to tell our webmaster to set that up. But we have we're getting, I think, 400 Goldbacks a month. So yeah, they're we're lobbying for gold and silver, and we're partnered with a lot of the gold and silver companies out there. So they're helping us out with that.
Nice. Real nice.
Now, if you do get a lot of this legislation, I mean, you're going to need more gold. What's the plan? I guess. Yeah, I'm just asking.
There's more than enough gold, man. Believe it or not, there's more, especially when you have it digital, right? Like a gram of gold is on $95. So I mean, that's a gram, and then you can use it and spend like a fraction of a gram with a debit card through Kinesis or Load or UPMA or whatever. So as they print more currency and everybody starts selling because of whatever corrections are happening or whatever, dude, what's happening right now? We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Trump has always been a wild card, and now
Yes.
that he knows what he's doing, he's been planning for 4 years this entire thing. This isn't just, hey, let's do this. No, he's been planning to do this for 4 years, and he's been interviewing people for 4 years. Like, this is all playing out like he wanted, and it's changing the world. Literally, he is single-handedly with his handpicked appointees changing the freaking world, not just America. And it's scaring people. And I think that's why we don't have such a boom. It's the uncertainty. Like, nobody knows. And then
it's like drinking from a fire hose,
Yeah.
It's just
Dude,
like
I'm not tired of winning. Every day, the news, we're winning. I am so happy we're winning. But think about the other half of the country that are literally vibrating and freaking out in anger and protesting. Like, there's a lot of uncertainty, and half the money is the left and half the money is the right, and whatever, and everything in between. So we don't know what's going to happen, and I know that we've been printing too much currency. We've been printing way too much of it. Everything is in a bubble. Everything is looking correct. The Federal Reserve recently said that the president of J.P. Morgan Chase is telling people, don't buy the stock market. He's warning his investors at J.P. Morgan Chase, don't buy the stock market. It's a little inflated. If he's saying it's a little inflated, it means it's really inflated.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Real estate, same thing. Like, guys, like, where that capital rotation event thing that from North Star Bad Charts, that once all those boxes are checked, prepare for the ride. And those who are going to benefit the most are those who have gold and silver, because gold and silver are going to suck up all that liquidity. People are going to get scared. Gold and silver has been a safe haven asset since the dawn of humanity, since we discovered it.
This is it, right? This is the
That's
USD
Kinesis,
one.
correct? Kinesis Pro.
Okay, so this is what.
40 plus digital assets. Yeah, man.
Okay.
And by holding your gold and silver in there, you get a yield. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to earn yields. They also have like a cash back rewards. You don't even need to have an account. Money in there with them. You go in there, you put your debit card. They brings you a cookie to, let's say, Home Depot. You get 2% back in gold or silver. I mean, they have a bunch of things going on right now. And I know for you crypto guys, I mean, and I think you're listening to what I'm saying about gold and silver, and you're seeing gold just keep going up. Like I said, it was. I think this is the best platform right now to trade, because you can go to Binance, you can buy PAXG, right? But Binance.us has no liquidity for PAXG. You put a limit order in at a price you want so you can lock in your profits. You're never going to get it.
Right.
They have over $200 million in gold in digital format. Same thing with like silver. I mean, this is the best platform if you want to preserve your purchasing power. And you start thinking not in dollar terms or Canadian dollar terms. Start thinking in gold, which is a global monetary unit like Bitcoin. The original Bitcoin is gold and silver. And you start doing that ratio between gold and Bitcoin and gold and XRP and all that stuff. You start seeing things differently. And I just sold my XRP. It doesn't matter. Gold's fine. It's going to go up, and it's going to go up over time. I don't need to worry about inflation stealing my wealth. And I sleep fine, man. I sleep fine trading in, all my assets in gold and silver.
Yeah, I haven't even touched this platform before. This is new to me. I know you mentioned it last time we talked.
Make sure you sign up with the. You know what? Let me get that referral code.
Yeah. Put it in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll put it back in.
You can put it in the
But
chat.
just so you know, it is in the link. I have it reset so I can track it for you. But it is, so it doesn't look like the referral link, but it is. So
here it is. Got it. Copy link.
Put it in, and we'll send that.
Yeah,
and
this
Jar,
is specifically.
here's your answer, Jar.
Jar, the president of the U.S.
Yeah, that'll solve the problem.
Canadian
You're right.
gold back needs once he annexes. 100%. I agree. We need you to be in the 31st state. Just join.
God.
Do a referendum and tell Trudeau to shove it and become a part of America.
I think we have to ask.
Hey, I just posted a link. That link right there is specifically for Matrix Money. As you see that's the ID that we had our partners at Kinesis create for tracking where people sign up. So if you want to sign up Kinesis and trade gold and silver and start protecting your assets, you can move all your assets, whatever assets they have, which is quite a bit of it, into Kinesis from Binance and all that, and then you can start trading and saving.
Okay.
I just put that out everywhere, so that's now out there, just so you know.
Thank you.
Crypto Princess is in the house. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. I use, what's the same, nerd things. I used to stack gold and silver. When time came to get rid of it, it was hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to sell physical unless you know somebody like a dealer or something. Like on the side, I started a bullion business, so all my local people know that, hey, when they need to sell something, they call me and I can liquidate it. So my recommendation, if you got gold and silver, first and foremost, find a local dealer. You're going to get the best price because they'll probably pay you spot. Next, you want to go to your local coin shop. Your local coin shop will probably pay you spot or a little below spot, depending on how much liquidity they have. And then the last place I would say is go to a pawn shop. They're going to offer you less than spot. They're probably going to offer you 96 to 98% of spot. So if you have physical. But if you want to start saving and you have money in the bank, you have some investments in some other platforms, and you want to put it in gold and silver that actually has liquidity, and you don't have to wait for it to hit a limit order, send it over to Kinesis. It's digital gold and digital silver. And I can't say when. I thought it was going to happen last quarter, but from what I hear, they will be coming out with a debit card in the United States, so you can start spending your gold and silver like cash.
Well, that's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
So, and I think, can I say this publicly?
I don't know.
Yeah, you can.
we ain't gonna stop you.
I don't know. I don't know if this is publicly known, but the debit card is definitely publicly known. So
Okay.
that's definitely
Yeah.
come out. There might be
Okay.
something else that might even be better than a debit card, but I'll let you know next time you have me on, which I hope is sooner than a few months, and I'll let you know when it happens.
Yeah, when you
But
can
yeah,
when you can
huh?
perform transactions with a debit card, that's when it really comes into play. That changes everything.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
off ramping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be an on ramping solution very soon.
That
So
is needed.
The
Yeah.
An
on-ramp.
easier on-ramping solution.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Not just for gold and silver, but for crypto. I'm talking just
Yeah.
for
just
everything,
this.
for crypto,
Mhm.
for everything, dude.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Oh,
Um,
here's another thing. Remember that USD one that it's the third largest. I think it's in CoinGecko. USD one. Not only is it has $13 billion backing it, they are in the process of insuring all 13 billion. Meaning it's the only stable coin that is not only backed by real dollars, assets in a bank. It's also going to be backed by insurance.
Hmm.
USDT, USDC, DAI, none of them have that. It's going to be a game changer for USD1. There it is.
Yeah.
Uh,
12 billion.
12 billion. Well, it's supposed to be 13, but okay, maybe it's 12 billion. No, it's 12
That's fully
billion
diluted.
tokens, but it's backed by $13 billion.
Got it. Okay. And this is what exchanges is this on?
it says Kinesis.
It's only on Kinesis.
Only that's
Kinesis,
just
yeah.
only on Kinesis.
It's going to be on other exchanges. I mean, they're waiting for the insurance. Once the insurance comes, they're going to have it on other exchanges.
Yeah. Okay. That makes accessibility a little hard. But yeah, that definitely seems solid. Let me pull that off there.
Yeah, Kinesis is doing big things, man. I mean, so is Goldback, so is UPMA, so is Load. I mean, all these gold and silver companies, they're doing some big things. But Kinesis is it's like a sleeping 500-pound gorilla that's about to wake up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, now with all this positivity at the federal level with regard to Trump and obviously crypto and that kind of thing, does that give you renewed confidence to maybe shoot for that level now versus the state level, or are you just sticking strictly with the state level?
No, we have some of our partners that have close ties to the Trump administration, so
Okay.
they are working the gold side too. And my Congressman Mike Herodopoulos, who took over for Congressman Posey, told me that he'd be open. He's the president of the freshman class. He's open to getting rid of capital gains legislation. That's Representative Alex Mooney, who's a good friend of mine also. He ran for U.S. Senate in law, so he turned out. But Mike Herodopoulos, I've been so busy with the state, having him a call. But Mike Herodopoulos said he will introduce getting rid of capital gains for gold and silver. So yeah, I told my board, listen, once that happens, I got to make that phone call. I'm going to D.C. where I'm going to lobby and do whatever I need to do to try to get rid of capital gains for gold and silver.
Sweet. Nice. That'd be nice
That
to
is
see.
good.
That'd be nice to see.
Okay, I have a kind of a fun question. You're talking about pullback and the market's going down. Where do you see Bitcoin as a bottom if there's a major pullback with the price?
Well, what's 75% of the current price?
75%.
Wow.
Jesus. Okay.
It's happened why would you be surprised? It's happened every single cycle.
No, it hurts. That's why it's more pain than I'm feeling than anything else. 75% pullback. Okay. Well, we're at 100, so we're talking like going down to 25.
Let me put an asterisk and a caveat on there. Based on the cycle trend, the reserves are a different animal. The government buying, like what I foresee happening is the cycle starts and people start selling, and then the state governments either get scared, like, oh, maybe we don't want to buy reserves because we'll lose all our money, or they see it as an opportunity. And they pass the bill and they buy Bitcoin cheap and pump it back up. So that's what I see. Or it stays where it's at right now, and some states start passing the legislation. Even if they pass the legislation, it's going to take months for them to get enacted and give authorization for the treasurers of the states to actually do that. So let's say tomorrow Texas passes theirs. It doesn't go into effect until July 1st. So they're not going to be able to buy any Bitcoin until then. What's going to happen to Bitcoin then? It's already way past the halving mark. Based on what I know, July is near the end of that 100 days after the halving also. So the bull market we got between now and what's 100 days after April, April to May, June, July.
July.
We got between now and July
Mhm.
for the bull market to end, based on the normal cycle, plus or
Based on the
minus a
normal
few days.
cycle. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So based on the normal cycle, Bitcoin always corrects between, I think the lowest correction was in the 70 percentage points and the highest was 90 something percent. But every single cycle it's lower and lower. So I think we might have a 70 to 65%, maybe even 75% correction before the government start buying things up. Now the federal government passes it, I think it gets enacted right away and they'll start, you know how Trump is, he'll just
Yep.
start buying up the Bitcoin.
Right away.
And now reverse it.
Yeah.
But until that happens, look, governments are slow. I
Yeah.
mean, they have to figure out they need
Amen.
authorization, right? Every state government treasurers has different safekeeping or asset management rules and what they can and cannot do. And you know, I haven't been following so much Bitcoin legislation because I'm in the gold and silver side of things.
Mhm.
The only thing I would do with Bitcoin legislation is call the sponsors like, hey, maybe adding gold and silver as an asset to purchase as a reserve might help you guys. But that's the
Well,
only thing I would really do right now with the Bitcoin legislation.
that's funny you say that because I was going to ask you if you had crossed paths with like Dennis Porter, where he's pretty much spearheading with the Satoshi Action Fund most of this legislation. Have you guys like spoken to try and coordinate your efforts?
No, he's a Bitcoin true maxi. I don't think he thinks. I think I don't know what he thinks about gold. But yeah, I mean, like I've seen him. I saw he hired a lobbyist in Missouri that testified for our bill, or no, a different bill in Missouri right before our bill. You know, I know he's here in Florida. I know he's been in South Carolina, so he's been busy. But yeah, I think he's just focused. I think Coinbase is funding him primarily, so he's
So
just
that would
chugging
make
along.
yeah, that would make
Yeah.
sense. Because to me, it would make sense that that would be the right combination. Just put you guys together and be like a juggernaut in the space. Well, at least for the
You know,
states.
I'd love to. You know, he's a busy man now, and he's a high profile now. So
Right,
maybe once
right.
I have my TV show, it'll be a little different. You know, and
A little publicity there.
we'll
Yeah.
connect, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Any other questions? Metaphysical revelations? Anything else?
No, I'm still suffering the pain of a 65 to 75% pullback.
Remember, there's a caveat there.
A caveat. Well, okay, yeah. Regardless of the pullback, I'm all out of money, so I can't buy more even if there was a pullback.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
man.
if you had your money in Kinesis, you'd be getting a little bit of a yield every month, and if you had UPMA leases, you'd be getting a little bit of gold every month, or
What's
silver.
the percentage that they're offering on the stablecoin if you're holding?
Well, no, they don't offer it that way. So when you get a chance, go to Kinesis. There's called Kinesis video lessons.
Mhm.
There's 12 of them. I think all of them combines like 20, 25 minutes. You'll understand. So it's a fee sharing program. So the transaction fees for
fee
the
sharing.
exchange,
Yeah.
the transaction fees for the exchange go into a fee pool, and then there's five different yields that you can get from Kinesis. So I mean, my biggest yield is actually referral yield. I mean, I've gotten actually quite a bit the last few months on referral yields. But yeah, I mean, the more you trade, the more it's like a cash back.
Got
You
it.
get a
Yeah,
percentage.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Makes sense.
Different structure.
and the yields are all different. It all depends on how much. It's all about velocity of money. The more trades on the platform, the more people swipe debit cards, the bigger the fee pool gets, and the more people get.
Right, right, right. We see that with the DeFi exchanges, stuff like that. So,
Exactly.
I, I guess for me, my final question would be if there are people that are either here now or watching this on the replay and they're interested in helping to move this kind of legislation forward, what or whom should they contact?
Well, they should contact me.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're a busy guy, so you may not want all that direct.
He's producing
Well,
shows. Yeah.
I'll filter and call. I'm really good at calling back or replying to emails. Now, make sure you put the correct email. We had a couple. We had a couple people really want help. A couple college students that wanted help out in Illinois and a few other places. But when I responded, it was the wrong email. So make sure you, when you contact us, when you fill out the form for contact, put your correct email address, and if you want, put your phone number too, and I'll follow up with a phone call. But I go to Citizens #4 Sound Money, and I recommend you join our Pioneer membership. It's $25 a year, and what we're going to be doing is once we get 50 members in each state, we're going to create a state chapter, and then we'll contact all the members in that state. And if you want to get involved in the grassroots, we will teach you, me and maybe somebody else will teach you what you need to do. How do you lobby? How do you become a citizen lobbyist? How do you research bills? How do you figure out this entire government system that most people don't know, and train you up to be a grassroots army for Sound Money? You can join us at, there's a button that says become a member. You can do $25, and if you do $100, we will send you a free ounce of silver on the Kinesis exchange as a thank you for becoming a Pioneer member at the $100 level. And you get access to also our metal markup app that our late founder acquired. It has the cheapest online bullion prices, cheaper in most cases than findbullionprices.com. And you also get legislative updates roughly every week, sometimes every other week, and I double up the news. And then quarterly, you get an exclusive call with me about legislative updates. And we're going to be adding more benefits. For example, sometime this week, we're launching a sweepstakes to give away an entire gold back set. So if you want an entire Florida gold back set, which is 193.5 gold backs, I think it's roughly worth around $1,100 right now. All you got to do is join the sweepstakes, and then every day you can either share. There you go. You can either share different posts, do different follows, watch videos, and you rack up points. And we're doing 3 sweepstakes. The first one is $50 in gold or silver in Kinesis. The second one, I think, is $150. And then the last one, which is the longest term sweepstakes, is the full set of gold backs. So if you want to get involved, go to this website, become a member. And once the sweepstake launches, we'll have probably a banner, and we'll be posting and sending out email blasts. So join our email list. You can join the sweepstakes, either win $50 in gold and silver, $150 in gold and silver, or gold backs. Or if you somehow get the trifecta, you can actually get all 3.
Wow.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Then there's some other legislative updates and everything. So we're posting a lot more on the blogs. And in fact, when I heard about the tariffs, I wrote that on February 3rd. I'm like, oh, everything's going to crash. I was not expecting him to pause the tariffs. Because I was already crashing in crypto. I'm like, this is time sensitive. I got to write this right now to warn people. And then he pulled hey, I was just kidding about the tariffs.
Just a threat.
Yeah. But let me tell you, if those tariffs hit, the markets will be way down.
It's definitely going to have an impact, that's for sure.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. In politics, things change second by second. Everybody was expecting a major crash on Monday and Tuesday, and it did crash. It just wasn't a major crash because they recovered, because on Monday, he said that he wasn't doing tariffs on Mexico and he wasn't doing tariffs on Canada. So it reversed. And the market is still down. If you look over the last week or two, the markets and crypto markets are down. Bitcoin's at, 95, 97. It was at 103 or 104 when the news came out. And that's when I realized something's happening. I'm like, why is all the crypto down? So I looked on the news. I'm like, the tariffs. That's why. So I wrote that article about the stock market as well.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you want to throw a percentage guess out there that the chances of the tariffs? Are you feeling lucky?
You talking about Mexico and Canada?
Yes, sir.
Because we got a 30-day reprieve here. Well, we're partway through that, but
as long as Mexico and Canada keep bending the knee and throwing money at border security, I think we'll be fine. Look, I like the way that Trump this year, or this presidency so far, he is playing 3D chess. Maybe you're 4D chess. He is playing chess like he came with a plan and he's executing. He's great at executing. He's great at the deal.
He's definitely
the art of the deal. My God, he played that with Mexico and Canada, and he's playing it with Europe, and he's playing with everybody. But he's had 4 years. Get this. He has 4 years of the Justice Department raking him through the coals. 4 years of vilifying. 3 assassination attempts. One One attempt, he actually got shot. This guy is a major threat to somebody or some people, and he's still a major threat to somebody or some people.
He's
And
also a
he
major
is
threat to
executing,
himself. Yeah.
huh?
I said he's also a major threat to himself.
Well,
Just by
because of what he's
he's
doing.
becoming a target more and more by just executing on all these
Absolutely. I
executive
was
orders.
reading they had a decoy airplane because he was afraid Iran was trying to assassinate him.
Right.
Listen, he is. We really need to bolster his security, man. He's
I
doing a
have a
lot,
I have a
and he's
question
yeah.
because um and I just gotta say it before I forget it because you guys are like really quick and I guess I'm not. But in regards to the border security, if you as you say, Mexico and Canada takes a knee and ups the security, I thought based off of what Trump said that the tariffs were for monetary reasons, not for security reasons. I get the security reasons, right? But how
Mhm.
does that translate to making more money for America?
Terrorists. Well, let me. That's a loaded question. So the deal for pausing the tariffs. Look, the tariffs was monetary, partly. The main reason he was putting tariffs was because he wanted the governments of Mexico and Canada to do something about all the fentanyl and the illegals coming in. They either fly to Canada and then they come through the border, or they just go through Mexico. So that was one of the major issues, and that is what made the 30-day reprieve. I think both Mexico sent 10,000 military troops to the border, and was going to invest, I don't know, $1 billion or something like that to
Billion and a
help.
half on
A
Mhm.
Canada's.
billion and a half. Same thing
Yeah.
with Canada. I think they're doing the same with a billion and a half
Yeah.
to bolster security at the border. That's what he wanted. He ran. His number one issue wasn't the economy. It was part of it. His number one economy was immigration, and them coming across and killing and eating our animals and raping our children and taking college students off the running pass and killing them. Like
Yeah.
that was what he ran on. That was a very emotional appeal, and that's what he wanted to do. So yes, the border was what gave that play. Listen, Trump is bartering like the Russians. The Russians say we want 1 billion pounds of wheat, when in reality they only wanted 250 million. And then or the Soviet Union, and then the rest of the world's like, we can't do that. We'll give you 500, and they got more than they wanted. Trump is doing the same thing. He's like, I'm going to put 25, 100% tariffs, and he's saying this is all the real problems. And then he sends Marco Rubio or his delegates and says, all right, we don't need to do all this, but just do this. And that's what he really wanted in the first place. That's
Yeah.
how he's negotiating. He's playing
Yeah.
3D chess with these people. He's
Yeah.
very, very smart. And that's how he negotiates all the time. So the
That's smart.
economics, look, read my article. It never works. Tariffs hurt the economy.
Oh yeah.
Even McKinley. If you, I put statistics about McKinley and the price of gold and silver. Oh, we were on a gold and silver standard back then, but the debts and everything. Tariffs don't work. I mean, I think he's overlooking some facts. It's not going to really pay for. I mean, all it's going to do is cause inflation.
I
Now,
agree.
if we were a manufacturing monster, it would help because we could manufacture
Yes.
everything. But we're no longer a
Yes.
manufacturing powerhouse. We import most of our goods. And that's, I think, what Trump is thinking is that he wants to put tariffs to force us to get back into a mercantile economy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's trying to incentivize manufacturing back in the U.S. Right. So.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's but it doesn't work that way. Their markets are too efficient. It's like central planning. He wants, through taxation, to centrally plan the economy, and through a capitalistic means, through incentives. But it just never works. It's never worked tariffs like that. It hurts us more than it helps. And
Right.
look, regardless, look at what Argentina did. Argentina cut Elon, Trump, and before Vivek left, Vivek, we're looking at the playbook of Milei. We're doing the exact same thing, just at a grander scale. And Milei took a year before their economy recovered, and they have the best economy in 123 years. You know,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
going to hurt. I think
Hmm.
it's going to take longer than a year to recover. If it does really crash, I think it might take 2 years, give or take. But gold and silver is going to, every single time that the capital rotation event happens, and it's specific to all the indices crashing, like you saw against gold, it's going to be at least 10 years bull run. There might be a correction between those 10 years when the markets start recovering, but it's still going to be a 10-year. Let me see. If we were doing business together and you want to bully me into complying, where's the goodwill? There isn't really. It's like me being Apple and you being a small startup, and we want one specific piece of technology, and I say, all right, I'm going to sue you into oblivion, and then we go to mediation, and instead of suing you and making you go bankrupt, we say, just give us this technology. Yeah, when you got the money, you bully. There isn't any goodwill. When you're the biggest economy in the world and the most powerful superpower in the world, listen, Canada isn't even keeping up with Florida's economy. Like, Florida has a bigger economy than Canada, for crying out loud. Like, come on. Like, we are the biggest economy on the planet. China's catching up. We have the most powerful military in the world. We have more military bases than any country in the history of our world. And we have the technology to keep up with all the superpowers. We are the bully. That's not a good thing because we piss off a lot of people. And when we become weak, we won't have friends. But that's a different story for a different time. If you want to read
I was going to say that's a completely different live stream right there.
Yeah, if you want to read a great book about how American empire, which is the corporate America, has stripped the world of its natural resources and put them into debt, and then the central banks and the IMF, the World Bank has been redistributing America's wealth and giving it to developing countries to compete against us. Read the New Confessions of an Economic Hitman. That book right there will tell you what is wrong with the world and what we did to put it there. New Confessions of Economic Hitman.
All right, I'll look that up.
That's what I'm doing right now.
FF, I know you had to drop off. Do you have any other questions?
Well, yeah, I do, but then it might turn into even longer stream, unfortunately. I also searched up this book just so I can read it. It looks like there could be a movie as well associated.
Oh,
I don't know.
They did do some kind of movie. It's not as good as the book, but it's like a documentary about the movie or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But I'm trying to go back, and it's really hard for me to remember. But when you had brought up how tariffs are not good for the economy, in the grand scheme of things, I agreed with you. But and you answered my question also. I wasn't able to say thank you, so thank you for answering my question. But going back to that, then why is it that we continue to keep a tariff on China? What is the play with that? And then a subsequent question to that would be, not only did we tariff China an additional 10%, but then we also removed the $800 minimus ruling, where you could basically export stuff from China as long as it's $800 or less, right? Then it wouldn't be tariff. And then that got basically suspended very similarly to the Mexican and Canada suspensions of the tariffs. What is the play there? Because a lot of it still doesn't make any sense to me, even with your answer. But I would just like maybe some sort of explanation if you do know, since that part of it seems like your area of expertise in regards to how that might work, and if you can help me.
So I can give you a real world example of how tariffs work. I was a crypto miner, so I used to buy a bunch of my GPU mining equipment from China. So before I found a different supplier, when I ordered large orders of crypto miners, motherboards, PSUs and all that, I would get a tariff bill. I would pay upfront the cost, and then later on, I get a bill that I have to pay to what the hell is it called? What the hell is it called? Customs. I had to pay customs, like 20-something% because of the tariff that Trump put, and then Biden kept. But then I found a different supplier. This is directly to your $800. And what they did is they broke up all my orders into small $500 orders or $700 orders to get around the tariffs. And that's how China gets around the tariffs. So that's why they suspended it. But me, I had to pay additional taxes, which increased my price. But you know what I did? Because I'm not going to pay out of pocket for those tariffs. I just increased the price of my equipment when I sold it to investors. Now, it sucked when I needed to buy replacement parts before they started doing those 800 because things broke down all the time. And then I would just have to charge my investors the replacement cost, which ate up their profits.
Right.
So, see, tariffs, yeah, we pay taxes, but it hurts the economy. That's what taxes do, right? Look, China's paying for it, right? All right, they're a tax. And you know who's really paying for it? We are. My investors were paying
The
for
consumer.
it. I have to pay for it. And then it hurts their bottom dollar, right? We're producing cryptocurrency. It's brand new money for them. They didn't feel the impact, but I know for a fact they could have gotten more money if I wasn't buying releasing equipment from China. That's just how tariffs work.
Right.
It doesn't. The government gets more money by taking money from stealing our wealth. That's what taxation is. That's what tariffs are.
Yeah.
Right. So then that's why it goes back to my question. Why didn't he also remove that 10% additional tariff on China, or at least suspend it as he did with Mexico and Canada for 30 days?
Because there's political issues with China too. It isn't like, see, we're friends with Canada and Mexico. We're North America. I mean, America has, since Teddy Roosevelt, I forget which doctrine it was. Like, then we see America has historically seen the entire America as North and South as ours. This is our domain. We are the protectorate of this entire area. China has been stepping on our turf in Panama, in Central America, in South America. So Trump is reasserting our dominance in this area. So we're telling China, F you, we're going to continue because we don't want our people to buy your stuff, right? There's political considerations, not economic. But China is the upcoming superpower. Look, America's prime time has come and gone. We're in the downward trend in the cycle of nations. Trump might be doing this, a little bump up a little, and then it's going to come back down once Trump's gone. But we're not going to be the single superpower in the world anymore. China isn't as strong as people think either. Economically, they're not as strong. They have a lot of debt. They've been printing a lot of their renminbi and their currency to do the Belt Road or whatever initiative. They took a page right up. When you read that book, New Confessions of the Economic Hitman, China took the entire playbook of American empire and took it for themselves, and they're doing exactly what America did.
They're doing it in Africa. Yeah.
In Africa. Everything. Yeah. Dude, we mastered empire through corporations. And China's doing it because they're communists and they control the corporation. So they're just taking a page out of our playbook and doing the exact same thing. Yeah. There you go. That book right there will help you understand how the world works. At the end of this book, he says because the real economic hitmen don't exist anymore. He's saying the modern day economic hitmen are lobbyists. Not me. I'm a nonprofit lobbyist. But big pharma, big insurance, big ag. Those lobbyists are cutthroat, and they're the new economic hitman. And they will threaten you. They will take your property. They're the new economic hitman. Sorry to ruin that part of the book, but that's the modern day economic hitman.
It's okay. We'll still read it, or at least watch the documentary.
Yeah, the links in the chat, everybody. All chats have it.
Thanks.
All chats have it.
Yeah, and when you read that book, you understand the political implications too. American empire was responsible for some assassinations too.
Some, yeah, I'm sure.
Through the CIA. The CIA, he calls them the jackals. So, I mean, I can tell you the premise. I mean, the idea is economic hitmen are the nice guys. They go in there, they say, we'll give you a loan, we'll give you this debt to the leaders of the country. And if they do it, great. The companies come in, they take all the resources, but then they leave a bunch of debt. And sure, the GDP of these companies drive the GDP up for those nations. But the reason why it's driving it up is only because the those in power got rich. They made so much money, it brought the entire nation's GDP up, but the entire country suffered. But if you don't listen, they send in the jackals. And if the jackals don't work and the jackals don't kill you or force you to do whatever the corporations want, guess what? American military takes you over. Bada bing,
so
bada boom.
By force. Yeah.
It's all by force.
Yeah, absolutely.
First they give you the carrot, then they give you the stick with like a sniper, then they bring the bazooka.
Jesus.
Unfortunately, it's history, man. It's recorded history. It's what not we as America, but we're a corporatocracy. Let's just be honest. The corporations control almost every legislature through the super PAC process.
Yeah, it does, definitely.
It's just how it is, man. Money talks. Yeah, even in '08 when I first started learning about campaigning, money is the mother's milk of politics. That rule is starting to come up to number one for me. Money is what makes everything go round. And politicians are corrupt everywhere. Not all politicians, but there's some statesmen, there are politicians who won't take a bribe. But we've created in this country a legal bribery system through the PAC system, man.
Yes. Absolutely.
It isn't just us. Every country has it. I mean,
And you're right, and most people don't even understand that that's exactly what that is. That's legalized bribery.
In America, we have our suits and our ties with the corruption. But in Panama and other countries, the damn speaker or the head of the parliament will run out, grab a suitcase of cash, run back to the floor, and kill a bill. That's how blatantly corrupt the rest of the world is. We are just behind the door and we cover it in legalese and no, you're just giving it to my super PAC or you're doing it to my leadership PAC or whatever. Like
they put a bow on it. It's the same.
Yeah.
Yes, put a bow on it. Lipstick on the pig. Yes, as they say.
So, guys, I got some dinners I need to go to with some other lobbyists and everything here. But I love doing these shows, man. I like bringing because I don't get to talk about crypto much on my other talks because it's all gold and silver. And when I do talk about crypto, they're like, "Oh, we hate it," or "We're not a big fan of it." But here, you guys are both, so I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah,
man. So.
All right, Joe, you want to wrap us up, and we'll call it. Maybe
that's it for this Matrix Money podcast. We're going to be taking a break for at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. We'll keep you posted. CCM will probably put out some tweets, right? Maybe keep.
I will absolutely do that.
I'm moving, so there's a little bit of disarray with everybody right now. So we will be back probably in about 3 weeks, but we'll keep you in the loop. And that's all I have. Anything else you guys have?
No, yeah. And if you guys want me back in 3 weeks, I mean, we'll be in the middle of session, and we'll see what's happening. A lot's going to happen, man.
Right. We'll reach out to you. Thank you to everybody who was in the chat. Thanks for all the thumbs up. And if you haven't already smashed the like button, make sure you're doing that on the way out the door. But we are out. And if you're looking to contact Daniel at all of his information is in the description of the live. So go ahead and check that out. All right.
Thanks
a lot. We're out. All right. We're heading out. All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Later.